gradients can be really powerful. And the traditional way to apply a gradient is on a shape. Let's make a big shape and fill it with a gradient on the fill. Just going to click on the fill and apply a gradient to get started. So I can change the position of that gradient. Right now it's flowing from one side to the other. If I use the gradient tool and simply click and drag from source to destination, then it will go in that direction. When I hover over the gradient, I can move all these little color pots to change the effect and also change the blending points from one to the other to change how one color moves into the next. These are all quite useful, but I can use the gradient panel for even more careful adjustments. So I can move all these color pots around, move the blending points between them as well, and I can add new points by clicking simply below the gradient there. One of my favorite tricks for a gradient is to make a rainbow. So I'm going to click here, click by double clicking, and I can choose either the CMYK sliders with a spectrum or the swatch. So I'm going to pick a red to start with, and I'm going to throw away a lot of these other color pots just by dragging them down and out. Now I have to have two color pots in here, so I'm going to drag this one back to here, double click and pick a yellow. I'm going to go with an implied orange between these 2 points. The next one is going to be green. The next one, blue. And I guess we'll go with indigo, even though apparently Isaac Newton, who decided that the spectrum had 7 colors because he liked the number 7. And so I'm really got a bit against indigo, but let's stay with tradition. And so we've got effectively all our colors here. We don't have a color pot for orange because it's right between red and yellow, but if we want one, we can just click there and hey, it'll make an orange, maybe even there. So that's got our gradient from red all the way through to violet. But let's try an even better trick. If I click at the beginning and click at the end, I'll get some duplicate color pots and I can change the opacity to 0. So by having an extra copy of the color opacity to 0, the beginning and end of the rainbow will blend. And that's especially useful if I do something like make an ellipse and then choose to fill it with a radial gradient. I could position that with the gradient tool and maybe position it from outer to in or from the center to out, something like that. And I can tweak the positions of all of these if it's not quite right. Once I've got it right, I simply make a new swatch, call it whatever I like, and it is saved. Now, if you do want to do this, I found the rainbow works best on an arc. If you use the up and down arrows to bend it around, and obviously I want an open arc, so I'm going to press C. So there's my arc. I've got my rainbow, which I'm going to apply as a stroke, and I need to make sure it's applying across the stroke in linear fashion with a nice thick amount. And hey, there's a rainbow, just like you always wanted.